let's have fun with this one. We're over in r/relationship advice with a post that is 6 years old by a deleted user. My sister is participating in a transphobic, misandrous incel group. Good Lord. And luckily enough, this post has an update. I, 19 male, noticed that my younger sister, 15 female, is becoming self-conscious. And really when she's visiting my new apartment. She still lives with our parents, but still. The grammar. I tried to read this correctly from what you wrote, and it destroyed me. It makes no sense to me. But you were 19. I'm probably off your phone. Oof. As a brother, I did what I did. A week ago, I noticed a profile on my Twitter contacts list that I knew nothing about. The profile pic screamed a Black Power aesthetic, so I looked into it. Basically, all I saw the girl in that profile talk about was how pathetic Black men were, how Black women should divest, her dad and mother being deadbeats, and how her mom should have picked a white man with power. Ugh. The tweet below that thrashing biracial people because the amount of Black men willing to sleep with white women over Black women were too much. I don't even want to read this story, I'm not gonna lie. I knew a lot of people, so I didn't pay it much mind. A couple of days later, my sister tells me she left her tablet at my apartment and to make sure it's there when she comes back. I go on to charge it, and after plugging it in, I see a Twitter notification of a guy calling her a bed wench. That's a new one. I take note of his @ and who he replied to so I can report him through my Twitter account. But I get there and realize he's insulting the same profile I saw some days before. The exact same tweet. I checked on her tablet just to make sure. Ooh. I didn't know how to process it. I did some research on Divest Twitter, and the way I saw it, it was full of rampant misandry, transphobia, mainly against male to female, a sexual fetishism of white men, while at the same time demonizing white women and the men they associate with, Black women who don't agree with this philosophy. You should have put an "and" there. And these lies about how pathetic a beta grade, the conquered race of Black men were, and how they had no history, no emotion, no sense of right or wrong, pulling articles of complete psychopaths who happen to be Black and attributing them to all men. Oh my God. What really got to me is how she talked about me in there. She called me Elijah on her profile and seemed too angry about how ugly and low energy I was, but still getting laid by white Beckies and Pygmishas while she's never had a boyfriend because she's Black. I guess she assumes I'm dating all my female friends. I hadn't dated or had sex with anyone since high school, and I broke up with my white girlfriend then because of how hateful she was towards my sister. At first I was angry, but I just hated seeing how sad my sister was on Twitter. I hated seeing how my ex destroyed her confidence too. I knew if I told her anything, she'd feel like I was sticking my hand in her head and falling even deeper into her hole. I'm thinking about letting our parents know, but I don't know how they'll react. Should I just tell her? I'm glad there's an update because I read this and I was absolutely thrown for a loop. I don't know any African American individuals who think like this, who are so self-hating, and just wish they were white. I understand wanting things to be equal in life and how terribly unfair it is, especially here in America, because I'm assuming that's where they are. They're here suffering. Hey. But at 15, getting brainwashed onto Twitter like this. Oh, actually, I can understand that. Wait, nope. This post is 6 years ago. I can understand getting brainwashed on Twitter into thinking crazy things like this today and last year, ever since Elon bought Twitter, but 6 years ago is wild. I can understand getting brainwashed on TikTok and falling into some crazy ass groups over there because the algorithm will just keep hitting you with it, and keep hitting you with it, and keep hitting you with it. And you will be reinforced with videos that you think are agreeing with what you have going on in your head, or Facebook too, Instagram too, right? But that will not be what reality is or how you should think. But you will get locked into it. Ooh, this is crazy. Let's see what these comments are, because there's only so many. A couple of these pages are deleted. I think your best bet here, if you want to intervene, is to sit your sister down and have a heart-to-heart with her. The simple fact is we all have insecurities. However, nowadays, we have Twitter groups, Facebook groups, and subreddits that prey on these insecurities. In my experience with this I am much more familiar with the Incel and MGTOW movements. Oh, I know. Men going their own way. However, this divest movement seems similar, as it's for Black women who feel anger and resentment about their perceived lower place in society and hierarchy of women, and this is their outlet for rage and resentment. But self-hating rage, self-hating, at the end of the day, though, you being pissed off at the world is not going to make your life better. People that feel this way need to seek professional help and work through this with a therapist. Just talk to a few incels about how them embracing black pill culture has contributed to their depression, isolation, and overall lowering of quality of life. Yep, I can definitely understand. Yeah, you just get sucked into a hole and you just chilling at the crib in your bed, scrolling. I got a lot of notifications. Who cares? I can see that, because if you think the world is just a terrible place and you don't go out into it and you don't interact and you don't have good experiences, then your life becomes what you see online, because that's all you're taking in. Let me continue reading her comment. I hope you can reach out to her and talk this one out. I too relate to what she's experienced. I'm an Asian male, and at least here in America, it's very common for Asian women to want to get with and pursue white men. I was resentful about this for a while as a teenager, but I eventually said, fuck it. And instead of being resentful and letting it negatively affect me, I focused on making myself the best I could be and dating who I had a connection with and liked. I've dated many different races of women and am happily in a relationship with a woman I truly love. I hope one day your sister can reach a similar level of catharsis. I don't think I've ever said catharsis out loud before. Huh. We got a couple comments replying. I say no, I'm tired because I don't even want to read this. I think it's important to add, if Obi talks to her, that he understands her frustration. Even if the specific examples aren't accurate, black women are more likely to be victimized and more likely to make lower wages than white men or women, black men, and in some cases other people of color too. It's a frustrating time to be black right now. And it's important to validate her frustrations with life/society, even if her frustrations with OP's friends and exes is totally fictitious. This was during COVID. That's what this is. This was during COVID. This girl was locked in a house on her phone, scrolling on the worst things. I see now. Yep. Black Lives Matter movement, COVID. There was so much racism just thrown out there, and everybody was eating it all up. There was so much going on. Still is so much going on, right? But it's 2026. We're having a big WW3 right now. Ugh. So the deleted comment replied to Miss Mockingbirdie, right? The comment I just read. This is true. And every statistic my neighbor going hard outside with their I don't even know what they got, a Mustang? I don't know. I'm sleepy. This is true. And every statistic I've ever seen, black women are always getting the worst. Most likely to be victimized, least sought after demographic of women, desired on dating apps, etc. Her frustrations are not necessarily wrong, but becoming hateful and resentful and feeding into these negative feedback loop echo chambers will not do anything positive and possibly negatively affect her mental health. She needs to get help and address this if she has any hopes of becoming a well-adjusted, successful, and healthy woman. Choosing to be part of any community where I voluntarily accept being called a bedwench is horrifying and disgusting. Oof. These comments right here, they're just spot on. They got the takes my sleepy ass don't have. Her reactions are totally abhorrent, but it's easiest to get people to possibly change if you can tell them their feelings are valid. Just their response is wrong. Just something like, I know how bleak it can be given these statistics. I know it can be hard to find joy in life when it feels like you have every disadvantage. But instead of blank, maybe you can try doing blank. And that second blank would ideally include speaking to a professional. Oh, man. Let me find this. Updates. So the update, my sister, 15 female, is participating in a toxic online group. They link to the original post, which we read. Hello, I've never included the ages, so I went back and did, and I took some of the advice, but I still didn't feel it was right for me to jump in and tell her, hey, I read your tablet, so who's telling you these things? Most of what my younger sister, 15 female, was doing and saying in these groups online was just because she felt alone and depressed. From what I can tell, how she felt most of this was because she was black and my racist ex just pushed her further into this. And I hated seeing it. So around October last year, I, 19 male at that time, finally brought this up to our parents on the condition that they would not confront her about it. I told them nothing about her being in these groups that I couldn't justify with her feelings of loneliness because they would definitely give her shit. I told them about it at face value. If we invaded her privacy, this way she'd fall deeper into the hole she was in. I feel like there are 2 commas needed in that previous sentence. Oof. We all had to sit with this for some time in November. My younger brother, then 16 male, asked me about this stuff. Again, we haven't confronted her about it, but he tells me he's going to try to get her with a friend group in school since I'm not living with them anymore. Is this pre-COVID? No, this is 5 years ago. So this would have been 2021. Okay. Yeah, so this started during COVID. Ooh, that's tough. And then them getting back to it, ooh, their brains were fried. A couple weeks ago, she actually started asking me for money to hang out with some girls. I took the opportunity to start talking to her about them. They're really nice people. She's still very shy, but she's making less self-deprecating jokes around me. They like to listen to her talk about her hobbies and interests, and it's just great to see her smile genuinely now. Last time we spoke was 2 weeks ago. I don't know what I would have done without any help. I probably would have just lived with that knowledge and not done anything. So thanks, seriously. Honestly, it's been 5 years, 6 years. I hope you continue to follow that page and make sure she didn't post anything else. The realities of all this social media stuff now that we've gone through so much, and the list is out. We see how many pages, especially on Twitter, are just bots paid for by certain entities over here in America and ran by people overseas who are thoroughly disconnected from us and do not care. They're meant to just boost rage, increase revenue for certain individuals, and sow discord to the point where, hey, look at your sister. She was locked in the house and just scrolling and hating herself and her own people, right? Calling her parents what they aren't, I'm assuming. I truly hope that she's doing good and better. And I hope that she also got therapy, because that should be the basic bare minimum for a situation like this. Then you also, when certain things weigh heavy on your mind, especially when people are this close to you personally, you should not act with inaction. That is not the way.